Reality is like a film set. There are directors, action, producers,
Are we on schedule?
and even actors.
Can somebody get me a coffee?
The trick is realizing that you are playing all of these roles. You are the executive producer of your reality. My name is Daniel,
My name is Lauren.
and we're here to break the fourth wall to discover what's behind the scenes. And what you hear just might have you saying, "That's so meta."
Welcome to That's So Meta, where we discuss the mystical, magical, and metaphysical. My name is Lauren.
And I'm Daniel.
And we are here today to talk about the concept of mirrors.
Yeah, it's a little two-part episode, the law of mirrors. And the second part will be a manifesting tool that gets very quantum.
So we're getting back into actually talking about metaphysics, which is nice. Instead of,
Just popping off.
just rambling. So would you like to kick us off with the first concept?
The law of mirrors is very similar to the law of attraction. Now, I know that that's a very entry-level, new agey sort of concept, but it is one of the universal laws. When we talk about the law of mirrors, Lauren and I were having a lot of experiences in our day-to-day life where we would talk about something, or we would think about something, or we would resonate with something or vibrate on a concept, and then we would see a reflection of that in our reality. Everything is a reflection in some way, shape, or form of the self. Okay, now this is much more complicated than the law of attraction, which is what you put out is what you get back. But the law of mirrors is that when everything is a reflection of the self, then whether it's a subconscious thought or a subconscious belief or a conscious one, we're always putting out a frequency, a thought pattern, a vibration, and then it is reflecting back to us in our 3D environment in some sort of symbolic or metaphorical way. So this is my understanding of the law of mirrors. So if you're familiar with Bashar, one lecture that he gives often is that when you're looking into a mirror, you cannot reach out and force the mirror to smile if you're frowning. You have to smile first, and then the reflection will send that back to you. This sort of ripple effect works literally in every way, whether it's just a want or a need or a desire or a thought or a belief. This is all happening subconsciously behind the scenes, like a mechanism. We're just unconscious of it, generally speaking. But the law of mirrors will always reflect back to us what our vibrations, our thoughts, and our beliefs are as a focal point. So we were kind of like, just going out in our day-to-day life, running around errands, rooting about, and we would be talking about something, and then we would see a symbol of that reflect back.
So yeah, one example is I've been shopping for a car recently, and something that is important to me is how the car handles the weather or whatever. So I was looking at all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive and all these different vehicles, and the more that I fixated on one particular type of vehicle, the more it was showing up around me.
That's right.
Which I think is a number of things, but it's very much that I was like thinking, oh, maybe I'll get a Kia Soul, and then I saw like 70 in a day, just because you're looking for it, and it's also manifesting more because
you're creating
the opportunity for it.
Yeah. So the argument in that could be like some people will say, oh, well, you only see it because you've been thinking about it a lot. So you notice it more because you're looking for it. But I would argue that no, it's the other way around. It's believing is seeing, not seeing is believing, in the sense that the more you focus on something, whether it's an image of something or even a concept, you will start to create that in your reality that reflects back to you in small ways, even if it's just a color or a butterfly, or in your case, a particular car brand that you were shopping for. It's not that we're just noticing them. It's that we're creating them as a reflection that mirrors back to us because that's where our focus is. That's the way physics work. It's believing is seeing. And if you're more conscious about this, you can see it play out in your day-to-day life, and sometimes it'll manifest immediately, like rapidly within minutes. You'll notice seeing something on the internet or on your phone, or as you're, out in the world running errands, you'll see a thing you were just talking about with a friend, or something that you've been, meditating on or giving energy to. You'll see an example of that. And I've tested it before where I'll just picture, a particular animal. And then I'll drive down the road and see that animal on a billboard, that specific animal. Even if it isn't, so if it's something that's more rare that you're not going to see like a bird flying around, it came to me in a picture, in a physical image.
Right.
That's the way it works. It will always get to you some way.
Yeah, totally. So I know in the past we've talked about the law of attraction. How would you say that this differs from that? Because to me, every time I consider the law of mirrors and law of attraction, they're kind of hand in hand. To me, it's this very similar concept. So how would you differentiate the two?
Well, to agree with you, I think they are very similar and can be hard to differentiate. The law of attraction is like a magnet that uses a vibrational frequency generated by your thoughts, your feelings, and your beliefs that will, almost like a machine, is always sending and receiving orders that you're placing consciously or subconsciously. The thing with the law of attraction is when people have an awareness of it, it's more of a deliberate mechanism or a manifesting tool that we kind of have a conscious effort on, trying to make sure that we're always deliberately manifesting what we prefer with the law of attraction or trying to create something. Whereas the law of mirrors is more of a passive thing that I believe happens faster and is something that you have maybe less conscious control over. It's more of a foundational mechanism that's always putting out something and receiving it immediately, lightning fast. And it's passive and generally unconscious. Whereas the law of attraction is more of a concept that we can put into action and drive the wheel of a little bit more, be more deliberate about saying, I want to manifest money or a new relationship partner or a new house, whatever. That's sort of like that new agey tool that everybody uses. Whereas the law of mirrors it's a finite truth that just is. What you put out is what you get back. Reality will always mirror itself in some way, shape, or form. Now, the one little thing to add about the law of mirrors is that we may think that it's not working right. Or we might think that the law of attraction is not working right. But what it's actually doing is it's measuring the vibrational frequency, which could be different than what you think your conscious output is. It knows what your frequency is no matter what your mood or your attitude is. And it's always reflecting something, whether you know it or not, or whether you think you have control over it or not. Reality is a perfect mirror in that way.
I remember one instance where I was driving around with my sister and we were having a nice time and we started gossiping, and I was talking about something that had happened that I was very negative about it, and the way that I was speaking about it was just, it was a little bit harsh and it was a little bit whatever. And in this same exact moment that I started speaking negatively, we were driving in a car and we got cut off by somebody. And then my sister who was driving got frustrated. And then the whole instance really escalated simply because I was putting so much negativity into my speak. It reflected back instantly in creating a situation where it was everybody was frustrated. And so I immediately recognized it. And I was like, oh my goodness, I won't do that again. But it was just a very instant reflection of the negativity that I was creating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good choice of words, creating. See, I like that. And that is a good example of how quickly your circumstances can mirror your attitude or your state of being or your beliefs or your frequency. And it's always happening passively. It isn't something that you need to be conscious about. It's just one of the foundational fabrics of our reality is what you put out is what you get back, even if it's not deliberate or unconscious. So the law of mirrors. I'm going to segue into part 2 of today's episode. And it is it's another manifesting tool that I discovered in 2015 and up until recently have forgotten about and have been playing with again to discover how powerful it is. People know what the law of attraction is and how it works. Now, one thing that I've noticed is I want to talk about the physics of our reality here, where it's 3D, it's very dense, and it's very slow. So whenever we're using the law of attraction, we know that we have to meditate and manifest energy on this specific thing for like 5 or 10 or 15 minutes a day, and then you release it with no expectancy or insistency on a particular outcome, but you let it manifest the way that it's supposed to. And that's sort of the mechanism of how the law of attraction works is you feed the energy, let it grow, walk away, let it manifest when and how it can manifest for you. So you and me were watching a TV show where there are Grishas?
Grishas. Yeah.
Grisha?
Mm-hmm.
And they use magic. And there are different particular class types of these magicians or these sorcerers or witches, whatever term you want to use. They're manipulating energy and they're using, they have, special abilities. And some of them have telekinesis. Now, I've been experimenting with telekinesis since I was a teenager. Even my mom and I would make the little psi wheels where you put, a piece of paper on a needle. And then you can put glass over it so the wind and the air doesn't move it around, and you try to move this psi wheel with your mind. I met these kids too when I was really young who would send me video clips of them, and these were like less than teenagers, who were like levitating. Okay, these kids were like levitating up to the ceiling and moving stuff around the table. And because I was always talking to them about metaphysics and telekinesis, and I was always doing it as well. So I could move the psi wheel a little bit to get it to spin in a certain direction, but nothing too crazy. So why am I talking about telekinesis as a manifesting tool? Well, as I watched this show and I saw these Grisha using telekinesis, we see that they're manipulating energy and matter with their will, with the power of their mind. But you can't see them touching a physical object however it is moving. They're interacting with it. This is because all of physical matter is subatomic particles and atoms, that we are in some way, shape, or form always influencing the matter around us. Now, back to the law of attraction. What's one thing when one of the steps, one of the rules of engagement in the law of attraction is you're supposed to set your intention and then walk away, leave it, let it manifest however it's supposed to, whenever it's supposed to. What's the key feature in that? It's that you're supposed to take your attention away and let it happen when and how it's best. What do they always say about love? Well, you never find it when you're looking for it. Why is that? That's because I believe matter, physical matter in as a physical object or as circumstances, it's always happening in an invisible way outside of our awareness, outside of our physical awareness. That's why when we use the law of attraction to manifest something, it always pops up when we forget about it, when we're not thinking about it. Same with love. Love happens when you're not looking. So I'm getting to a theme here. The theme that I'm exploring is that with telekinesis or the law of attraction, physical matter, including circumstances, is materializing in an invisible way. And that's going to be today's lecture about this manifesting tool. I don't have a name for it other than the invisible manifesting technique. Whether we're talking about telekinesis, where an object is moving with an invisible touch, an invisible hand, or we're talking about manifesting something through the law of attraction, the one key factor here is it's something invisible outside of our visible awareness is happening. Right. There's a mechanism there that is invisible to us. I believe that in our physical matter manipulation, it's because there are certain rules within the third dimension or the third density that are just the way the physics work. And that in order for a physical action to happen, to get a physical result, we have to start with a physical action first. So this takes me back to 2015, when I learned a powerful manifesting technique where you use liquid, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You use a form of liquid, a glass of water, and what you do is you place the glass of water, it could be anything, coffee, juice, whatever you're drinking, place it in front of you, you put your hands around it, okay? And you're connecting physically to this glass of water, and then you charge the water with an intention, just like taking action through the law of attraction, whether it's writing out what you want, words or spells, so spell it right. Whether you're using words and writing or typing, or you're making a vision board, another physical action to create something that you want to reflect back to you through the law of mirrors is to charge your water. Now, I went to Los Angeles, California in 2015 to do some filming for my movie, and that was when I learned it. So I bought 2-gallon jugs of distilled water, and I would set an intention in the water to have a great, successful, positive day with a lot of positive interactions, and that I would take my day with grace and ease, and I would charge the water and then drink it, okay? Because you're infusing the atoms and the subatomic particles and the raw matter and then drinking it and infusing your whole body, your whole reality with this intention that you've set. And I had an amazing trip. I'm talking nothing went wrong. I barely spent any money. I met great people and developed lasting relationships. I did some filming for my movie. Like, it was a great 3 days.
Yeah.
And I charged my water with this positive intention every single day, first thing in the morning. Now, I don't know why I stopped doing that. Okay, because it worked.
Yeah.
And I experimented it with other things as well when I got home, where I was like, okay, I need money to pay my rent this month. And I would charge my water and drink it just once a day and then walk away from it. And then something would happen where I'd get a gig or a paying job, and I was able to pay my rent on time. So where am I going with this? Well, it gets back to telekinesis, where you're moving something within some sort of invisible energy. The law of attraction, where you set an intention, charge something, fuel it with your intention and your energy and your belief, and then you let it go, you turn away, you walk away from it, and then something happens where you get a phone call or an email or a text message or an opportunity for you to take action on the thing that you're trying to experience or create. And it happens when you least expect it. Love happens when you're not looking, because there is an invisible quantum field of energy. And I believe that in the third density, in the third dimension where we are now, where it's relevant, this is how things are created outside of our awareness, off screen, behind the scenes.
I think that the important part of this type of manifestation tool is to be able to make peace with walking away from it.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of the time when I am really fixated, like say I can't make rent for this month, I am so fixated on it. I'm checking job boards, I'm checking, and I'm thinking about it, trying to find a way to make money, trying to think, oh, should I text this person, whatever. And you think about it so much that you're just perpetuating the problem, when instead you could simply just be like, I will have enough money by the end of the month. And you make peace with it, and then you carry on doing what you got to do.
And trust it.
And trust it. I know it's incredibly hard to do, but once you figure out a way to make the peace that you need to walk away, that's when things truly start showing up for you. I remember we were in Mount Shasta, and one of the guests had lost, was it a necklace?
Yeah.
And she obviously, it was very sentimental to her, and she obviously wanted to find it. So we scoured the location that we were at, and everybody was looking for it. We couldn't find it. And it was like 10-15 minutes of us just searching. Everybody was looking at this property to find this for her. And at the very end of us looking for it, she just kind of was like, I don't think I'm going to get it back today. And she made peace with the idea that, it's somewhere, but we're not going to find it by looking for it. And so she was going to walk away from it. And then around the corner, somebody comes out holding her necklace. it was as fast as she said that she was okay walking away from it, that she received it. That goes along with the telekinesis, because wherever it was on the property, we weren't going to be able to find it until it was placed where somebody could obviously perceive it.
Absolutely.
You know, I feel like it probably wasn't around until she decided.
It didn't even exist.
Yeah, until she decided.
Until she released the resistance and let go and said, okay, well, let's walk away from this right now.
Yeah, and then it was teleported in front of somebody and they were like, oh, is this your necklace?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how it works. And the person comes popping off out of nowhere, outside of your awareness, because vibrationally, energetically, she released the resistance to finding it. She got out of her way, and then the paradox activates, and now someone literally materializes out of thin air, saying, here it is, got it, because that's how the law of attraction works. Once you let go and accept things as they are now, then invisible to you outside of your awareness, the gears and cogs are moving, and then something will reflect that new state of being back to you. And that's a good example of how that mechanism works, and it's still off screen. Behind the scenes, outside of your awareness. You know, in other versions of reality, I'm sure physics are different, where the necklace could just pop up right in front of her, teleport, and that wouldn't be a big deal. It'd be like, I lost my bracelet. But that's not how it works here. You have to learn the way that the vibrational physics are in this reality and use that to your advantage and in your favor. And that's sometimes letting go, walking away, turn your attention away, so that invisibly, behind the scenes, physical matter can now move to reflect back to you. Right? So let's say people are a little bit more interested in the science behind the manifesting tool of using liquid and water. Well, I'm part of Cosmic Agency, if you're familiar with Gosha and Robert and Dale, and I am a voice actor for some of the English translations. And recently, through Cosmic Agency, the Taigetan Pleiadians remind us that you can use liquid as a powerful manifesting tool. And it's crazy how I was so passionate about this for a long time, and then I walked away from it and forgot that it even existed until it came back into my awareness through the Cosmic Agency where I work. And they talk a little bit more about how you can write down a word, not a whole sentence or a paragraph, but you can write down a word on a piece of paper and then place it underneath your water. And that word will charge the water itself, or the liquid. Or you can just put your hands around it and charge it yourself. And this gets back into, you know, manifesting deliberately through the law of attraction, but it's you're charging words, because words are powerful and feelings are powerful. So let's say you're a little bit more into the science behind this. Well, I talk a lot about density, and this is technically what we would call the third density reality, or a fourth dimensional complex that we exist in right now from this awareness. And rock and stone would be like a third density mass, but mud and clay would be maybe more like a fourth density. And then water would be more like a fifth density. And then gas and vapor and smoke would be more like a sixth density. And the reason why I'm giving this analogy is because if we're a very solid vibrating energy here, there is an ether, a quantum energy field that is non-physical, of just quantum plasmatic energy that's all probable, where everything exists. And I believe that when we are both deliberately or not deliberately manifesting something behind the scenes, off screen, behind the curtain, it's coming from this quantum energy field of the ether. Well, talking about densities again, water, gas, vapor, smoke, those are some of the lightest elements that we can still see, that is still visible to us, before we're getting into just air and oxygen, which is fundamentally invisible to the naked eye, which is still matter. Did you guys know that the light that hits my hand, and air and oxygen and words and sound is still actual matter? But it's just getting lighter in density. It's getting softer. It's getting faster in oscillation. So when we use water as a manifesting tool, we're charging it a raw element that is closer to the ether. It's closer to non-physical quantum energy that we cannot see getting back to the invisible.
Mm-hmm.
And when we work with elements and matter that's oscillating faster, even crystals are a very light density energy, similar to light and water. When we're working with elements and matter that is closer to the ether, closer to the quantum probability field of energy, we're charging that frequency, getting to the matter that's invisible, then the rate and the speed and the power of your deliberate manifestations is faster, stronger, reflecting back to you more succinctly, more accurately, more deliberately. And this is where the science behind charging your water with a feeling or a word is a powerful manifesting tool for you, because you're working with elements that are almost invisible, quasi-physical, closer to the ether, which is where all of our circumstances and our physical matter is created outside of our awareness, our senses, our 3D senses. So sort of like tie it all together is we're talking, I was sitting there watching this TV show with these, energy manipulators, and I'm like, you can't see them moving objects with telekinesis, but there's a physical action happening. And when you use the law of attraction, you're supposed to set an intention and then walk away from it and let it manifest when and how it's ready to, outside of your awareness, and it pops up when you least expect it. So the theme here is that energy is always moving. You're always manifesting something and reflecting it back to you, whether you're conscious or unconscious of it. And I believe that one of the most powerful manifesting tools we have is working with the invisible.
Yeah.
And letting things happen outside of your physical awareness. And using elements such as crystals, water, smoke, gas to connect to the ether with an intention and letting that mirror back to you. So charge your water, charge your crystals, charge your smoke, your gas with an intention, like you would the law of attraction. And activate the paradox, walk away from it, let it go, turn your attention away, let it manifest when and how it needs to. Because I think that physical reality is actually happening outside of our awareness. And the only thing that matters physically is what we can tangibly experience through our 3D senses. So if you want to create something anew through the ether, through the quantum field, use elements that are invisible and allow the invisible to become visible.
So I think the hardest part of that exercise is, like I said, making peace with it and like truly actually letting it go after the fact.
Another way to look at this, now I'm a very technological, scientifical, analyze the process type of guy. But
magical, metaphysical.
That one. The last bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where Lauren's got another grace to her. She has another kind of grace about this process. With me being the more technical side, I'm always trying to explain to her the process and see if, she wants to try any of these processes. And you're always really open to all of these. And then you come back with, like I said, that grace. And you're like, all of this works if this is your process. But you can also kind of just let it be and trust. You know how what do you always say?
Well, thank you for saying that. I think that it's our perspective on these sort of metaphysical teachings is very interesting, at least to me, because like you said, you're very scientific about it. You want to understand every aspect of it, like from the density down. And that is very helpful when you are teaching and learning these concepts. I will take that concept and internalize it and just be like, feel it out. It's very much for me a lot more about the actual feeling of release of expectation. It's about the feeling of understanding, making peace with knowing that however it's going to be is the way that it has to be, because it wouldn't be any other way. It has to be the way that it is. And so it's for me, it's just very much about like the feeling of it.
Yeah, I like that. There's
Yeah.
a nice contrast there between us because I'm more of the process guy
Mhm.
and you're more of like just like the state of being and the trusting side of things.
Mhm.
And that's interesting too. I mean, I think it's an equally powerful way to even navigate your whole life
Mhm.
because a lot of people will go through like, well, how do I break this down into a science? What are the steps to take?
Mhm.
And you're more of just like, well, here's the goal.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very much goal oriented. I'll get there somehow. You know, it'll happen if it's gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a powerful way to navigate your whole life too.
Mhm.
And I also want to express that as well to everybody that you can be a very process action based person
Mhm.
and have a plan,
Mhm.
but you can also totally just drift through your whole life. like a leaf.
Well.
No, hear me out. Like a leaf going down a stream,
Mhm.
bumping into stuff,
Just trust the journey. And
trusting it.
understand that nothing's going to happen that's not supposed to because it's already happening.
And what will happen, what needs to happen will happen
Yeah.
with your participation, awareness or not.
Yeah. And it's always important to obviously work towards your goals and have an understanding of where you personally would like to end, whether it's, you know, if you need a certain goal reached by the end of the day or your whole lifetime. It's important to understand your goals and know where you're actually going. But the journey there can be a little bit more relaxed and it can be a little bit more loose because at the end of the day, we're just all living our lives. You know, we're all just trying to get through it. But whatever process helps you get through it is, you know,
Yeah.
what you need to know and learn.
No one path is the right path.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day,
It's the end of the day.
it's the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I like that. There's a good balance between us because I will get a little bit like, you know, focused on the process and the science behind it. And Lauren will reel me back. You'll reel me back a little bit.
But it's also important. The reverse is that I learn all these concepts and ideas from you, and then I internalize them, and then we're able to manifest together in our own unique ways. Whether it's a process of each step, or if it's just like
letting it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that you mentioned that. It's important to realize because you could even integrate both.
Yeah, you absolutely could.
You know, like what you're describing is that could be that missing puzzle piece that a lot of people ignore in having a more deliberate and action-based manifesting tool. Mm-hmm. That space that you're talking about is the removing the resistance sort of
absolutely.
action. Yeah, it's important. And I need to get there too sometimes,
Mm-hmm. I think it's important too for us probably to get back into charging our drinks and our, I think this sort of topic of discussion is important as a reminder because like you said, you haven't really you kind of like forgot about charging your drinks and stuff
for 5-6 years.
For like 5 or 6 years. And it's important for us to probably get back into that because it's helpful.
Yeah, I'm using it again.
Yeah.
I'm using it again, I am. Mm-hmm. And it works quick because it's like telekinesis. Mm-hmm. You're reaching the quantum field invisibly. Mm-hmm. And I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. Because you can charge it with anything. Like you said, you could charge it and say, I'm going to have a positive day with a lot of,
good encounters.
Strong interactions. You can charge it with just like, I'm going to feel very, hydrated today. Like this is going to help my body process.
For wellness. Yeah,
you can do it for your health. You can do it. I mean, it's just about anything as long as your intention is pure and coded and then you just let it do its work. That's a good practice just on a personal level. And then you can kind of work your way up to manifesting and changing things in your total reality, but it would be a good like foundational building block.
I love that
practice.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe on the next episode, guys, we will we'll tell you what our results are playing with this technique, with charging our water with intention and seeing what we can manifest deliberately, but also allowing anything to be and trusting. Yeah. And comment also if you experiment with this or you have already. Let us know what kind of results you've gotten with charging your water. Like I said, you can write on a piece of paper, but don't do sentences or paragraphs. Just do like a word and put, money and put it put your water on it. Let us know what your results are.
Yeah.
Play with it a little bit. We'll be happy to share stories.
Mm-hmm. Totally. So speaking of comments, we're going to be doing another Q&A episode pretty soon. So if you guys have any questions you would like us to answer, or if you have a topic you want us to cover, please let us know. We'd be very interested in hearing that.
Yeah, we would love that. We did an episode in the past where it was sort of answering questions or just giving our thoughts and feelings on a topic that somebody wanted to hear us talk about. So that is now opened for a near episode.
Mm-hmm.
Comments, suggestions.
Yeah. Let us know what you think.
And that's our episode on the law of mirrors and manifesting through the invisible. I'm your host, Daniel James.
And I'm Lauren.
That's so meta.
That's so meta. Cheers.